further discussion or questions? Then Mel, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Brumbaugh?
Yes.
Mr. Basic?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Potts?
Yes.
Okay, any old business?
Kathy, I was trying to read through your notes real quick. I saw the ribbon cutting for the daycare, but is everything on schedule for that? I saw all the new stuff out there, so I figured it was going on.
Yeah, we got a couple items that we're gonna talk about in rights here tonight.
Oh, I was trying to get to that one.
But, we are on target, August 1st, from 1 to 2, we'll have like a little powwow of people speaking and cut the ribbon. And the Alts plan to have an open house then from 2 to 7 that same day. So the classrooms hopefully will be done and parents can stop in and meet teachers and all of you that have good vibes above, please keep connecting.
When are they supposed to, what's their projected date to be?
They plan to be open August 5th.
August 5th.
Will be first day for kids. So, yeah, it's been last 2 weeks. A little tense at times.
Is there any like state level inspections after that?
Oh, that has to all. Occupancy, yeah, that's all scheduled,
July 19th is supposed to be occupancy.
How are they doing?
And then he needs the daycare to get approved.
You think they're gonna be done? Looks like they have a lot of work left.
The inside looks pretty good. There's no ceiling tile right now because they were having another inspection today.
Yes.
And if that passed today, then they can drop the new ceiling tiles in.
So they don't have any mechanical systems, all of them running?
They're not allowed to run until.
If you don't have grading, you don't have diffusers, you're not running any air in that building.
They have
That's
two.
what
They have portables in there.
They have 2 huge portable air conditioners.
Do they have permanent power?
Yes.
No, yeah. The lights, you walk in and when you're in a room, the lights pop on, that's all. All the cabinets are in.
There's a countertop in the kitchen that needs redone.
But like the furnaces aren't boiling and operational yet.
Because of, you said the dust
They
or
won't,
something?
they won't turn them on until the last thing.
They have to clean them to keep the warranty?
I don't know their specifics, that everybody got a certain rules to follow, but,
If they're gonna be done by the 19th, they should have all that stuff on by now. You gotta like test and balance those systems.
On the 19th they do.
By then, yeah, lots to get done.
The sidewalk that was put in on the north side and out front was done so poorly that has been removed. That company did not return, and the gentleman who did the groundwork and a lot of that type, the curbs, he took that on. So
Did they pay yet?
no. The curbs are in.
No.
Not
Yeah.
I saw that
completely.
approach, it looked like that approach was in there. I saw
Pardon?
something, that approach, I thought that was finished up.
The approach coming, which will be the exit coming out on Morrison Way, that's all poured, yes.
Just a lot of backfilling, a lot of fine grading, a lot of landscaping to do, because that place, when it opens up, that's gonna be mud soup.
The landscaping, we actually took that out. They're
You just gotta
seeding-
like seed it though, or
They are
something.
seeding it, but the actual landscaping, because of the cost, it was 10,000. So I think we can work on that. They did not want any high shrubs or anything around there for safety reasons.
It's always my least favorite part of the job, I don't have any other position, it's always cramming 10 pounds
Brandon's
into
had
a
pretty much
5-pound
daily
bag.
conversations with us.
Yes.
And wanting to move it back. Originally, the bid was July 1st. They broke ground, they asked if they could go to July 15th, which was the actual date that everybody else had, and I agreed. And was asking about more time, and I mean, the alts have people coming on the fifth, kids, and you can't say to them, no.
When's the grant expire?
31st.
Imagine doing a senior living building where people are selling their houses to move into this building.
I don't even want to think about that. No.
Like $7,500 a day fines per day if you're late. It's insane. A lot of nights I didn't sleep, but I don't miss it.
I've had a few of those nights recently. Or wake up and can't go back to sleep, so. Any other old business?
How's the new pool rules going, have you heard? No
Great.
issues, nothing, okay.
Great. I know Randy called me only one time. One of my little neighbor boys rode his bike down there and just kind of walked in, and he called me, he's like, what, I said, send him hiking. He didn't have any money, and I doubt his mother knew he was down there, to be honest, but, no.
The two brothers.
There's 3 of them, but, yeah. They're riding all over town now.
Yes, they are.
One day they came in and told Haley that one of them was missing. I do know that Jared caught them trying to climb the back of the clear well and told them get out. He's contacted or talked to the guy from Northwest because there is no bar across that, so I imagine that was immediately fixed. I haven't been back to check, but I know they ran and tried to climb the fence, and I know Jared yelled at them and told them to get back out the way they came. So, yes. But my flags were fine this time, Tammy. Thank you very much.
They are stinkers. They really are.
Every time I put flags up, they'd accidentally hit them. Yeah. Zoom, zoom, break them. Didn't happen this time. Any other new business?
I just wanted to mention there is, this Saturday, I don't know if Tammy's aware of it, there is gonna be a 10th annual, it's called 10th Annual Ride to Remember, out of Bluffton. And Macomb is one of their stops, at the park. It's gonna be a Shelter House 1, and I think they're coming from 9:30. When I got a email back, at first it was 9:30 to 1, but now it's 9:30 to 11 that the riders are coming through, so. But I just wanna let everybody be aware, I don't know anything about safety.
The bicycles.
Bicycles.
I did speak with them, and
okay.
they didn't see any need for me to
Okay.
be around. They said they do this all the time,
Yes.
but they just were ringing, informing me that they would be,
Yeah.
they would be here. So
Yeah.
they did ask if they needed anything from me. I said
And I
no.
think it's probably gonna be a little bit smaller group here because
Yeah.
the group that's coming here is
Yeah.
riding 100 miles.
Right. Better them than me, so. it's all good.
Have
But
fun.
Just wanna let everybody
Pretty wild.
aware that they will be coming through town for that time, so that's all I have.
Thank you. Anything else under new? Okay. Mike, do you have anything this evening?
No, I don't.
I went to the Why on the Fly thing at the park today, and it was very light attendance from kids, so I said something to Haley and Mayor Stroll about maybe advertising a little better on our village website, and if you guys see it, maybe share it out a little more, because honestly, it was my daughter and just one other person there for the event today, and it was fun, it was cute. So that's about all the new business I have, other than I would like to call an executive session for conferences with the board's attorney to discuss matters which are the subject of pending or imminent court actions. Number one, the tables can stay. Grant, if you would like to witness it, I'm pretty sure you guys did your NDA, your non-disclosure agreement, you're welcome to stay and witness if you'd like experience with what that looks like.
Tyler?
Anything?
Sarah?
I just wanna thank, Dwayne Turner for his fireworks show. I thought that was a pretty decent turnout and looked pretty safe. I don't know if there was any issues, I didn't hear of any issues, but he did a good job. I don't know if anybody got a chance to watch him, but.
A lot of people at the park watching.
People. My dad's place across the street, we have front row seats.
Oh, I bet you
So,
do.
he didn't have to mess with that, so. But, he did a really good job, and I think the community really, appreciated it, so. they're trying to come up with a name that's not Macomb Fireworks, so he gets some credit for it, saw that on Facebook, and he said he's fine with it, he doesn't care what they call it, he just wants to have a good turnout, so he was grateful for the donations, but it was nice to have.
It was nice.
Was he the one that said he wanted to name something? It
No,
doesn't seem like-
somebody else
doesn't
did,
seem
somebody,
like
no,
that.
no, somebody else did, and he's like, oh, it's fine, people know it's in Macomb, then they come here.
Thank you. Anything else?
No, thank you.
Beth?
No, I just know that, we have a finance meeting at 5:30, just wanted to see if we wanna have it or if we don't wanna have it.
If you guys need anything,
Do we need anything?
I don't have anything on my agenda.
I don't know.
No? So, okay, we won't.
Okay, cancel finance.
Okay.
Do you know if we have Parks and Rec scheduled for July, Mark? I don't think we do.
I don't think we do.
I'm not sure, I don't think so.
We can ask anyway.
Yeah, but if she wanted to, it'd probably be on that same day, on the
Yeah.
17th, prior to.
You want to
In place of.
tentatively schedule it for
I would
the
say,
finance
yeah.
time?
Yeah, I would say that.
So that would be at 5:30, and I'll send something to the courier, see what we get. Do you want to double check with Kaylee
Yeah,
before?
yeah, I
Okay,
will.
just let me know.
Cool.
Student committee reports, I guess you're it.
I have nothing to report.
Good answer, good answer.
The only thing I wanted to bring up during this section was I gave all of you guys the 3 applications that we received, and I would like to have decisions on that, so if we are to move forward with those 3, 1, 2, whatever, we can start the process of contacting them.
I read through them, I thought all 3 would be great candidates, and they're incoming, so I think it's a good.
Thank you to Randy, because she is.
She beat them down to
Yeah,
the
she
school.
did.
I stalked the junior high lunchroom for a little while.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do you need the motion today to move forward with that, is that how we did it in the past?
Yeah.
I don't have the names, I read it last.
It is Kara Downing, Denise Delgado Acosta, and Braylon Felgar.
I'll make the motion for all 3 of those to be in the coming year student committee.
Second.
Any further discussion? Then would you please call the roll now?
Mr. Brumbaugh?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
Mr. Fasig?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein? Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Under legislative, we have one this evening. This is the same one that we've used in the past for the Park District grant that has to be submitted with the grant, so I thought we could do that and move that one along. So, Mel?
Resolution R 2024-03, a resolution authorizing the village administrator to file an application with the Hancock Park District for financial assistance through the annual Hancock Park Grant Program for public recreation purposes.
I'll make a motion for resolution R 2024-03.
Second.
Mr. Brumbaugh?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
Mr. Fasig?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
How much have we received in the past for that? Treasurer says it.
Usually it was right around 10, 8 to 10. Last year, they had bonus money, and so we were able to get that entire kids' play set down there. I think it was a total of 17,000.
Close to 20.
I think it's 17. I have not heard this year if it's what the amount will be, but we're going to need to determine here tonight kind of what you want me to go for. We were fortunate with last year. You can submit up to 3 items, and we basically have all 3. It was repaving the trail, the additional pellets for the play set, the rubber pellets, and the kids' play set. So, very fortunate. Okay, Mel, you have the report on pages 18 through 48.
Any questions? They're getting longer. We're almost halfway through the year.
Are there any of them that you're concerned about? I like to look at the percentages because I
Yeah.
always like,
Yeah.
okay, we're about 50% through.
No, I mean, we're
Pretty much on target there.
Yeah. doing all right. Got good managers up here in this front row. We do. We do. And the police department that chooses things wisely.
Yes.
I have to say that, because it was not that way when I came on board.
Okay. Any questions for Mel? Thank you, Melissa. Greg, your report?
I did meet with Helms. Can't remember the date, but went through a punch list with them. I agreed I'd give them till July 24th. They said they were pretty backed up right now, but they have till 24th to get the punch list done, other than the final seedings, which they'll come back this fall to do. We did shut down the pool on the 19th of June. We installed a new water line. We put in the bigger tap. Tried to coordinate that with Northwest Water and Scott Wagner. But Scott Wagner, at the last minute, said they couldn't make it. So I'd like to thank Basinger Heating and Plumbing, and especially Nick McDowell. He came over the evening before and basically put the water line in and replumbed the inside like we wanted. And the pool was ready to go on the 20th. I'm going to get a hold of Don Hall to do some tree trimming. There's some on Main Street and South Street. And I have to do a walkthrough around the village and the right of way to see if there's any other ones that need done. But usually we have him come every year to do that. The sand has been removed from the volleyball court, topsoil has been put in, and grass has been seeded. Actually, you can see grass growing, so hopefully we'll have something there by the Cookie Fest. August 1st is the deadline to turn in OPWC, basically your wish list on repaving. I like to do Pleasant Street. That street has been kind of beat up between the water line and the Church Street interceptor. I like to have that redone. And then also the alley that runs along parallel with Main Street from Liberty until it tees. Bluffton was supposed to come give me an estimate on that, but they never did, so I'd say it's not going to get done this year if I can throw it on this. And then if there's any other input from the Public Works Committee or anybody else, I'm open to that. But I think Sarah, Mike, and Jamie are on the Public Works Committee. So. I had the boiler inspected at the fire station on June 27th. All items were good to go. Everything cleared. We have our certificate. The internet has been installed at the village shop and at the village pool. The phone number to the shop is listed there, and also the new number for the village pool is 293-4664. I've been asked by Randy Dunn, the pool manager, maybe we can discuss this in the future, but he wants to know if we would be open to allowing a discounted price for first responders, police, fire, EMS, and military personnel entering the pool. I don't know what your guys' thought is on that, but I don't know if we make that change now or discuss it for next year.
I think at this rate, just discuss it next year, because we're halfway through the season.
talked about meeting with Randy after the season this year and going through all the pool rules while everything's fresh in his mind, and maybe a couple of the lifeguards as well. And doing that, it's up to you guys if you think you wanna do it from now to the end of the year. It's entirely up to you, however you want to see it. If it's half price, if it's, I mean, you did receive a copy of the week of people at the pool, which you had requested. So, we have the temperature, the membership, the actual, total admission, the people that paid for admission, and if it was a free day, what was the free, who was sponsoring it. Both the VFW and the American Legion have each sponsored 3 days, as well as the Fun for All. And then the village picked up July Cookie Festival Day. Yeah, your copies are blue. I told Greg I'm running them in blue like the water down there. And I think your number 9 kind of ties right into that, Greg.
Yeah, Randy also asked me on the free days, obviously, you know, we like to have people from outside our community come here, but he is dealing with maybe people that we don't want to be here. Do we want to look into that? Well, they maybe have to have somebody from the area with them to get in free, or are we just okay with how it is and let him? He had to ask a group of people to leave on Sunday with the way they just were disrespectful. They wouldn't listen to the lifeguards, they wasn't listening to him, and he finally had enough. And
Is it a one-time thing, or is that a repeat thing?
he said it's the clientele that we're getting on those free days is probably.
I think the free day should be to the resident, I mean, anybody with a Macomb address.
Address.
Yeah.
Well, and I thought, okay, so let's say you have cousins that live in Arlington and they wanna come over and swim. I said perhaps a Macomb resident should sponsor and have to sign in, okay, this family of 5's coming, I'm gonna write my name that I know they're a good, trustworthy family.
Is there any out-of-town people sponsoring some of these free things?
Well, the community foundation is, so that I have to be real careful about.
What if it's free for Macomb residents and 50% off for?
I can't do that with the community
Well,
foundation.
I'm just saying on any free days, like,
Would they be upset if we restricted it to Macomb?
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I think this is another one of those things where I don't know that there's much we can do this year, but like going forward, if we were rewriting the pool rules is what I was suggesting. I'm sorry.
How many free swims are left at Cookie Fest, and then maybe one more at the end?
We do one, right.
I think
and then,
there's
yeah.
2 more VFW, right?
Yeah.
And 2 more American Legion, so there's 4. The Cookie Fest is 5.
Well, the Cookie Fest
And the
all sorts of
free
people.
swim for the community foundation is the 31st, so I think there's 6 more.
Okay. Yeah, that went through my head too when you said, so with the Hancock Foundation.
Okay.
I think it's
Yeah.
maybe he just has a one and done. He's gonna know, you know, he has the authority to take anybody out of the pool.
Exactly.
So,
I mean,
your discretion and.
Just let him dictate it, if he has a problem.
pick-
You're out.
you're done.
There's nothing in our current rules from what I saw that you get 3 chances or anything like
No,
that.
no.
So, I would just leave it the way it is, and I think it's discretion of taking them out, and there's no reason to be nice in that, because you're dealing with pool safety like we talked about. But I'd like to revisit the idea of because we are halfway through, it's still July, and it might be nice for first responders and for the veterans to get a discount, because we're in the middle of our pool season instead of waiting. That's not a hard thing to change.
No.
I like the idea of the 50% off for veterans.
And first responders.
First responders, yes.
It's military, first responders, and what was the other one? EMS. I mean, the first,
I
to
would
me,
do the
police,
first responders,
they're all
yeah.
first responders.
So I'll make a motion that we change our pool rules to 50% off for those 3 paramedic, or for the first responders, veterans.
Does the first responder?
Now, is it current active police, fire, EMS, and military, or what about retired police, fire, EMS, and military? Cause you could have.
You should say active and retired.
Yeah.
I would do that,
Okay.
yeah. They usually have to have a credential, so.
Right.
it's
With
easier
an
to
ID.
get- Right, an ID, yes.
And I think a lot of them that are retired are probably already gonna get in as a senior citizen.
I'll make that motion at 50% off with that.
For active and retired.
Active and retired.
The military could be very young retired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any
Second.
further discussion on that? Do you have a first and second on that?
There's also the auxiliary too, so I know that the VFW does not have an auxiliary, so, but the American Legion does have an auxiliary, so that's another.
Do they
thing.
have cards
Yeah,
proven?
they do, yeah, but I'm not on the American Legion, but when I was on the VFW, I had a card, but that's.
You know what, at this point, actually, the numbers have been really pretty decent there. Or do you want it active and retired?
I think Randy would be
Pretty,
yeah.
yeah.
I think he's smart enough to make the decision if he doesn't think that they would count.
Right,
You know, I mean,
If, we could just leave it'll make it more difficult than it is, yeah.
Okay.
so just leave it at that.
So, any further discussion? Hearing none, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Brumbaugh?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
Mr. Fazy?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
Okay, keep on going, Greg.
Yearly backflow testing, I got a thing from Northwest Water. We have to perform those tests, which I will. Jacks do it, they do it yearly for us. And number 11, it's kind of an odd one, but I have to ask you guys because we can't make the decision ourselves. The contractor down there at the daycare center would like us to sign a waiver, which Kathy and I do not want to sign, for the humidity that's in the concrete. The person that wants to install the flooring wants it to be at 75%. The last reading was a core reading, was 95%. So to keep him on schedule, he inquired to Kathy and I if we would sign a waiver that says we're all right with them installing carpet on above 75%. Kathy reached out to Jerry Seifert, says that's not a good idea. You know, maybe 80% we can make that call, but you know, above 80%, we feel we're not going to do that. But we have to ask you because we're not chartered, I don't think. So it's a council decision.
And I would definitely say, no, we're not party to the general contractor and their subcontractor whatsoever. And that's his problem to do with it.
That's how we
And
do.
it's my understanding that core, it's actually in the concrete where it's at. They have a little thing, and they're gonna test it Wednesday, and like 2.5 weeks ago, it was 95.
that rain too, right?
Well, they put the gutters on today, because they said that may make a difference as well.
Problem's
They-
the relative humidity too. They're getting killed by it, and they don't have the building condition. And if they're saying it's dust and everything, clean the damn building.
And turn it on.
And you always do a filter change at the end of the job. They cost $40. It's ridiculous what you have to say. Sorry.
No, I'm glad, I'd rather have people on here that know what
I
they're
guarantee
doing.
you that you read the specs, the product data, the flooring thing, Mannington, Shaw, whoever you're buying stuff from, it says in there that if you don't put that in an unconditioned space, if you do it, voids the warranty.
Exactly.
Regardless of even the moisture of the concrete.
When I spoke with Jerry Seifert, I thought maybe he might have a meter. Do you know if your dad has one of those meters?
I'm pretty sure he does. But I wrote a note, I'll ask him when
Okay.
I leave.
Because I didn't call him today, but Jerry said that Michael Eller was adamant about putting his down, and he told him, no, he said, get her down. And it cupped, and then he had to use liquid nails and put weights, and he said it was a disaster.
Well, what about, I wanna say, like mold and mildew?
Yeah.
Especially
Because
in
they're rubber
daycare.
backed, yeah.
But yeah, the temperature and the humidity, they're fighting an uphill battle until they get the building condition.
Till they get it, yeah.
I'll chime in, the meeting I was at, and I thought I'd be late for tonight for, was about flooring. It was the same thing. The guy said, we will not, I think it was Cyphers that put the floor, somebody put the floor down and said, we're not coming back and doing any more tweaks on this floor, because your building temperature range up and down in the winter and summer is not good, your humidity's not good, you turn your air conditioner off for 6 days in a row because it's a club, and we won't come back. That's what's making your floor bubble. So when you walk on it, you can feel that give and hear the old glue stick, and you don't want that. Be a mess. I'd be against any kind of waiver. They gotta figure it out.
Well, we thought that there was winter contingencies in there, not contingencies, but conditions of 25,000 in the whole master thing. Well, they didn't really need those. But now Brandon wants them because they had to rent those big air conditioners in there. He wants some of that. Yeah. It's been
It's
a
getting
real
fun.
good learning experience, hasn't it, Greg? You ask your dad if he's
I
got
will.
one and can check it. That'd be awesome.
The-
They did, when they poured the cement, they put an additive in
Additive.
it that was supposed to eliminate that issue.
They're supposed to seal it within 24 to 48 hours. Now, the situation they're in, they do make some fancy, expensive sealers you can put down in order to help the problem. There's all kinds of stuff you can do.
Well, that'd be up to
The
us.
portables they have out there just won't keep up. They're not gonna, that is just a temporary solution. It's not
Well,
gonna.
you have no outside doors either.
You have
They're
plywood.
Right. That's not helping either.
And they're in the 12th?
Who, I don't know I don't know who they actually work for, the general contractor. It's always confusing to me. Somebody has a contract with them, has to.
That would be rough.
Has to.
And those
Is
people
it-
have contracts with them.
But
It's some.
who's in contract with RUP? The commissioners?
Commissioners,
What's their involvement? Did they watch over them in any sort of way?
They're not like a project manager in that situation.
Urban Reinhardt.
Because there's no real checks and balances with that.
Urban is the contractor.
RCM is gonna be the one producing the pay estimate.
What does Irv say about that?
He feels that it doesn't need a core sample, it's just the top. You know, so he told the contractor he didn't need a core sample, but the carpet installer said, I will not put that on without the core sample. So the guy that's kind of in our corner is saying, you ought to be able to do it because you added this additive, it should be take care of it. And the contractor is the one saying, no, that's not right. But
So-
the contractor also wants days added on, and this is a way to do that. I mean, I get the game, but I'm not signing a waiver and having issues and then,
Have to replace the carpet
Yeah.
and flooring.
At our
If you would
cost.
try to submit for a delay claim, I mean, there's a million things I don't know, I've been involved, but there seems like things he could have done better. Did you order your doors in time? You got a contract in place for how long? When did you order them? A month ago, or did you order them and understand the
He
lead time?
claims
you were
right
taking?
away.
he claims he ordered them right away. But he already ordered glass, he goes, I didn't have the door, and I ordered glass. I mean, he's banking on their dimensions being correct. But again, I said, it's not. I said, you guys said July 1st as a deadline. Nobody asked you to do that, you did.
Right.
So,
It's like,
I mentioned that at the last meeting, I'm like, you shouldn't have put a July 1st deadline, then you moved it to the 15th, now it's the 19th. And I said, we're not giving any more, 19th's it.
What's the liquidated damages in this project?
I don't think that was ever put in there. So if
I
they
can
miss the
ask
deadline,
I'll ask Casey about their contract.
Yeah.
because we tried to find it.
We tried to look for it, we couldn't find it.
Standard
find
thing
it.
that in like the ones that we do with them is $600 or $1,000 a day, so.
I don't know if that'll cover what Keith's paying out in it.
It's getting fun, so.
All the excuses just start flying out of the woodwork, right?
That's what they're doing, yeah.
And I just pretty much told him he shouldn't put a deadline on it.
And that was his own deadlines, not meeting his own commitment.
And his bid, he was the only one that said July 1st.
But he has to
And
be
then
under
we had the
August
notice to proceed to him, was like December 21st, and we had it.
But they have
What's
to
the,
use that.
what's the grant deadline? I do, you just want to.
31st of
July
July.
31st, so either way, you have to be done by then. Payment has to be made to them by then. Because they can't extend that unless they request it for.
Casey has called Brandon, I know that.
Okay.
And Casey and I talked early on, she was gonna even see if it's possible to extend it, cause being new, she goes, I'd rather know now than at the last minute.
Right. She's probably, or she's passed it now to request it.
But we're pushing,
Yeah.
they gotta move. Okay. Stay tuned. Here, sir.
Good. I have an executive session issue, but I did provide a copy, as we were just talking. This is just kind of an update on where the marijuana stuff stands. So they're issuing licenses to medical dispensaries to sell recreational, but they're not allowed to sell recreational yet. And that would be the bullet point that starts out with a bullet, however. And then the one above it, retail sales of recreational cannabis will begin. So everything is still the same way it's been. There's no predicted deadline or go date or anything. All of this is still a mess and up in the air. And that has to change, and that's the update from my intern that researched it. And so there you have it. Villages, cities can still regulate if there's absolutely none in their community, or however they want to regulate it, like it says, in relation to schools, parks, etc. And the one question I had asked them to look up was the very last bullet point, is that unlike some communities that have restrictions on liquor license numbers, there doesn't appear to have been any discussion on that. So for a bigger city, I don't know how many they could have. I guess they could be up and down the street. But that, I don't think that's really a worry in Macomb, but this is the update on that.
Thank you.
That's what I have tonight.
And I think Finley's discussing that now.
Well, they may have made a snafu. They're doing the moratorium, which is the same thing.
Mhm.
They're just having to renew it, but I had heard some grumblings that maybe they missed a renewal, but nobody's coming in, so they can hurry up and do it again, I guess. But yeah, they're not allowing it. That's the plan.
What can they, or, I'm not on council, but I think the problem with the people that we had in here was that they could not raise their own.
That and
They
the
wanted a
discussion of
tax.
missing tax dollars,
Well, that to me was.
which I don't think that's been settled yet of how that's going to be dispersed.
Probably like the law.
But can you pass where you don't have a dispensary, but if somebody is going to raise their own, they're allowed to do with their own, but not sell it?
I think you can pick and choose on that. I don't see why not.
I felt like that was the consensus that evening. I don't think many people would want a commercial dispensary in town or outside of town, but there's some people in town for that attendance that night to see if they're interested for their own.
Well,
Which-
I think it'd be in the
99%
pocket.
will mind their own business and be not harmful.
The main comment, I remember, was the taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
What if we don't get that money, which like you just said. we
I
don't-
remember
Those
somebody
dispensaries-
saying that, I don't think sales tax goes directly to Macomb like that. It
No.
goes to the county and then it's dispersed, I think, I don't know that for sure.
I don't think
I think only
that's even been settled, but I'll have that looked into.
I guess on the.
They still have a point, there's still some money in the percentage.
People being able to grow, I guess we need to look at that whole big picture. Do we want people if they're gonna grow, they have to do it with inside their home. They can't be having their own little garden out in their yard, because,
They have
I mean.
to trespass, is that what you're worried about?
Or kids.
No, just mainly the kids, and yeah, you're gonna have people like Nate Nicely and his little clan that's gonna go around just doing whatever they wanna do when it gets close enough, you know, I mean, you know, and like, we just came back from Maine. Maine's one of those states that it's allowed, you know, they're allowed to have, they're allowed to have like 12 plants on their property. So, you know, you have a great big garden of marijuana. So I guess those are things that we need to consider and look at and how we're gonna go about that.
I would think a lot of municipalities will be looking at the same thing. We'll have to see what they're doing, see what the challenges are from program one groups. I don't know that there'll be much pushback on the private growing, but I think for sure the way it's looking right now, that a village or city could further restrict the restrictions. If you can ban it altogether, then you can certainly allow 6 plants, not 12, 4, not 6, whatever. That it be inside, not available to children. I mean,
Well, they would be breaking the law if that was the case, so from what
well,
I
they can't be
read,
selling it,
yeah,
but I mean,
right,
but a
they
kid
can't
can
even-
go by
the
just
kids
like
can't even be around it.
take an
yeah.
apple off the tree, you could
Yeah.
pick a plant.
From what I had, remember when we had all this discussion, and I haven't read it lately, so I don't know how, if things have changed in that
No,
at
there's-
all, yeah. I mean, you cannot grow it outside. You cannot
Okay.
be visible.
Oh, you're talking about
It
outside.
has
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be inside, like a closet, it has to be inside. So if it's visible, you are breaking the law, so, yeah. But, again.
Well, Ohio needs to fix it, they haven't yet, or finish it, they haven't yet, and we'll
Yeah.
keep you guys posted.
Okay, thank you. Any other things for Rob this evening? Chief?
So before I get to the numbers, so today I had a situation that I really needed to have some type of program, that did some Creole language. I'm going to have to look into, there's a couple different agencies out there, that I can get hooked up with, and I'm able to call if I need a translator, but it is going to cost, it's gonna cost us money. So I kinda wanted to let everybody know, but I did deal with some Haitians today, on a little girl that was found that was between 3 and 4 years old. There was a lot of language barrier. I ended up finally finding mom. The guy that was supposed to be taking care of her evidently was not, and then she refused to go to him. He kept saying he was dad, and little girl, I mean, she hid behind me, so I knew that was not the case. So I called Job and Family because mom was not available, and I was actually gonna remove her because I didn't know who the parents were, and there was just no, I had no way to talk with them, so. It ended up working out for now, but I have a feeling it's gonna be an issue down the line.
I would check with Alan Ackenberg, Judge Ackenberg, and see, they just implemented some new programs. They've got hotlines to these interpreters for emergencies and OR bond hearings and all that stuff. I mean, municipal court is completely changing now. They have interpreters for almost all the languages that we're encountering, including Mayan, and the Creole, and Spanish, and they're on some kind of hotline. If there's a way, if you got somebody at the police department, a way to get online, and there they are.
Well, see, that, and that's gonna be the issue. I'm gonna have to do this all by my phone because it's only me.
Mhm.
And I had made a call to Child Services, and she says, oh, well, there's this, you know, place that you can call and blah, 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 but you have to have a pen and you gotta have this, and I go, well, I don't have any of that, and she was not willing to share any of that for me to do this one time. So I am going to have to move on that because I don't think this is gonna be the last time that I'll be dealing with them. And while we're on that topic, we talked about the cars, and the tents and things like that on the property. So if all that new law has passed, is that going to include the old car wash that they have made into apartments, that we can go after that now also?
Get what your zoning is on that, isn't that already a violation to live there? Or
We have-
they redid it without a permit or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had the
That's
health
good.
department there, who else? Wood County came
Wood County.
down,
What'd they say?
they had a sink, you had to have a sink and you had to have a bathroom, right?
And so many square feet.
A kitchen sink, and it didn't matter if it was the kitchen sink or a bathroom sink, it was just,
So it's zoned to be residential, if so be, it's not just commercial?
Well, when I started work here, it was commercial, because it was still under the car wash.
but they never got a
But it was
permit.
already, they were already moved in, and the parts were done.
They didn't have a permit.
I think people throw them out for that reason.
And that's,
I mean, you don't build a fence without a permit, you lose the fence, so somebody comes in and tears it down.
and see, that's the problem, is who owns that? You know, first it was, you know, the illegal immigrants that came in, that they housed there. Now that has flipped, now we have Haitians. So they keep flipping, and they're doing it in the middle of the night. They're not, when I'm working, I'm not seeing anybody move, they're just up and gone. But this group has little children in there, and I'm going, okay, how safe is that? And how,
But if that's not zoned to be a residential home, isn't that the first step?
Changed
I
residential.
can if they answer the door, but that doesn't.
When we did all
When we
those
redid our
changes,
zoning.
what they did.
Cause I saw the sign, maybe I kinda forgot about it, but the old Ramiro's, there's not a realtor sign there anymore, and there's just a little handwritten sign in the window, very sloppily, for rent and a phone number. They're not renting it out for a business like that. And that's not the zone for
There's
business.
been a car there, abandoned car too, for quite a while. At
Yeah.
Romero's down there.
Yeah, it's been there for a while. There was a day that someone was inside working in there, and I stopped there, and I spoke with him. He was in there doing some flooring and things like that, and I said, you are aware, you cannot let people just move in here to live. This
Yes, they
is,
did. Thank you.
yeah, I did.
You saw the sign that said like for rent out? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, we know. And I go, I'm telling you, I will be down here if I see people moving in down here. You cannot move people in here as a residence. This is a business use only. And that car and stuff back there needs to be removed. I mean, the windows down, it must be a junk vehicle.
Yeah.
Or he's hiding in the back living in it, and he's just not seen. But I've never seen where they come in and out, and I've looked through the back windows, and it doesn't look like that. But there is a section of that place that you can't see through windows either. And that would be the office area where she was at when she had Romero's down there. Yes, that's where the car was.
Yeah, okay, because I never see anybody coming out, so but we did see people down there working, and and they like disappeared, so.
Well, that was probably when I paid him for the visit.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not finding anybody living down here.
Is it still the same owners as when Romero's had it?
No, he sold it.
Probably like
And he
8
sold
months
it.
ago.
Yeah, and there,
Ish, somewhere in there.
yeah, I don't know who we sold it to.
Yeah, we could look it up.
So with the car wash, can we check to see if that's zoned? I feel like that's the first step, right? See what it's zoned. If the car wash isn't zoned residential,
Right.
that's the first.
Right, can't violate zoning.
We move on those steps, if that's the first.
And when I tried to talk to the owner about it, she said, take me to court. Because I've got a lot of money in that, so.
That would be our first step, though. Right, zoning.
I know that the Community Foundation and one of their grants, they just supplied a school with interpreter things or whatever you call them. So I might check with Kimberly and see what they ordered and where they received them from.
And you have to watch those devices because a lot of them don't have the career on them.
Okay.
Okay, so numbers, and I was on vacation, so the numbers are a little bit lower than normal. 11 incidences and 96 calls for service.
Okay, anything else here? Any questions for Tammy? We need to figure out which place is gonna be our first for the vehicles. Since that's all done and everybody's back. Okay, in front of you, you have my report. One thing I forgot, Northwest sent out a flyer. If anyone is interested in nominating anyone to serve on the board, their municipal person is a Mark Shepherd. His term will expire in 12/31. There's an application here if anyone wants to fill it out. Bryson Seifert has taken on watering the flowers this year. Jared and Billy started out, but then they would get called away, and remember how hot it was? It didn't start, I watered 1 week, and that was enough. So Bryson and Billy stepped up, and they're trying to keep up with that. Tomorrow, Tammy, the sheriff, and Finley City PD, who else, Tammy? We're going over that Tyler program?
Yeah, probably somebody from Tyler.
Tyler, right.
Mhm.
And that was the $75,000 that the commissioners gave us to get that program going. July 11th, Greg and I have a meeting with Kleinfeller, possibility of funds for a new roadway, pickleball, tennis court, and a basketball court. So we're gonna meet with Paulette to see what she can come up with for some funding. Friday, WKXA will be in town airing remotely. They're going to be set up in front of the VFW. If you're out and about, stop in. They always like to talk to people. So last year they started in Hanneman's and then moved to the VFW, but this year they're going to be out front the whole time. I know that Sarah Kryling's going to be on air. I talked to the gentleman about Randy Dunn. Randy, I said, is the SRO. He's also on our fire, and then the pool manager, and how he can work with the kids during the school year and then be a positive role model throughout the summer with them. I had to pick someone as a resident or person to be nominated. They get a free pizza. Randy doesn't know that yet, but Randy is who I nominated, so hopefully he'll be on the air as well. Beth covered the bicyclist, the cookie festival will be here and gone by the next meeting. Oh, I have the leg. The free swim. I wonder why I spelled check. That must be a word somewhere. Is that a real word? Ribbon cutting and open house at Little Panthers. We're planning on August 1st at 1 o'clock. And then, like I said, the alts will have 2 to 7. I sent out some grant opportunities with some of my ideas and kind of wanted to check and see before I get too far gone and working on these. Other ideas that you may have for that building community through the neighborhood. Revitalization, that was the ones that I talked about, possibly the tables and chairs, the setting up of a signage for out front, and then maybe part of the parking lot. The maximum is $25,000, but we have to match at 50%, and I say we go for 25 grand on something. So, other ideas?
Tables and chairs are for the community center.
Yes.
Okay.
I had Haley look up some. They have, the one I liked, you could get the whole set. I think it was 8 chairs and a nice round table. This particular one, granite plastic folding, heavy duty, They were $368.99 a set, so I don't know how many we would need in there, but that was and then, storage rack to hang them on, things like that. Cause those, you need those when you have this place like that. So I'm willing to see if you have other ideas. Or you want me to try to work it up on that one?
I like the tables and chairs around that building, I don't know where to sit down.
Is that building, I can't remember, we were gonna have like a kitchen in it too?
It will have a warming kitchen, and Casey called us 2 weeks ago, maybe, and she's hoping to have that out to bid this month.
Does that include appliances and then things for the kitchen?
You can't have any appliances other than a refrigerator. You could have a microwave, but I don't have a refrigerator, so that would be good.
Is there a location picked for the building?
No, we have to figure that out when you wanna walk.
I mean, not that, I don't know how they can bid it, I don't know where the site's gonna be, so many costs and budget things are affected by that. Mostly utility and taxes.
I know that
I don't know how you
Kyle
plan
was the one who put it
bid
together. I mean, we're gonna have some expenses on this.
Kyle from the county.
But I'm willing to walk out there.
Is no, item 3, is that to redo the roadway? Where is that intended? Or is it just like a thought or an idea at this time? Is it the existing entrance in that area?
The original discussion I had with Paulette last year, when we had the county give us an estimate, was to go on, what's that, Morrison Way.
Extend Morrison Way.
Extend Morrison Way, take a left and go behind the doctor's office, then all the way up and come out at the park. And that was $1 million.
I believe it, and that's
Oh.
why I'm bringing up that if we don't pick a site, we're gonna have surprises later. Like, there's no way that we can know what the budget is going to be for big things that will.
Is RCM involved in this, or Kyle?
No,
Kyle did
it was
all
just
this?
Kyle. I like RCM, but our drowlings alone from RCM, that was almost $75,000. Kyle did have it as a prefab building, which I think would probably be saving some, I would guess. He had it divided down into, we had to have 3 things, but we had parking lot, the building, we had solar lighting, and park benches. I tried to find the cheapest things for the solar lighting and the park bench, and trash cans.
And that grant was 600 some grand.
$747,000.
So we will have to pay for a parking lot, any other sidewalks that we need.
Any additional sidewalks, but the parking lot part of that was included in there. It won't probably be paved, but still. Unless we can come up with some more money. Okay, then going down to B, community gathering spaces. That was the one that, I thought about having a contest to get the town cleaned up. I mean, I drive down my road, right across from the post office there, there's like piles of wood out back, like boards and stuff that, I'm sure she can't move that. I mentioned if we could get our athletes, and I know that Kimberly emailed back, she really liked the idea of involving the youth. Tammy's husband being a diversion officer, and if you remember, most of the diversion people worked out at the litter landing, picking out, organizing trash. Since that has closed, Tom is looking for people to do things, to get their hours. And we talked about maybe some of those people could help if we did do cleanup in town. We've got a couple other jobs for him. I talked to Greg today about having those people help spread those little pellets out at the park once that sand's out of there. A couple of them do have some skills that might be able to take advantage